Hey, it's Nick Fogelson from Northwest Endometriosis and Pelvic Surgery. I was going to talk about something today. It's not medicine specifically, it's more the business of medicine. And this may be interesting to patients, but it's also going to be interesting to my physicians that may watch this. So, one of the things that insurance companies do sometimes is that they'll pay you and then they'll later decide that for whatever reason they think that they shouldn't have paid you, and then they ask for the money back. And sometimes, if you have other patients that have the same insurance, they might even take the money back against another claim to sort of recoup the money. I'm out of network, which means I have absolutely no contracts with insurance companies. What happens when you sign an insurance contract as a provider is that there's language in that contract that says that they can do that. That if they decide that they processed the claim wrong, they have a certain amount of time to notify you that they think they processed it wrong, and they can demand the money back. And they can recoup it in other patients if you refuse to pay the money back. And you have appeal rights and so forth, but they do have a legal right, and in theory you agreed to that process because you signed a contract with them and that was in there whether you read it or not. But when you don't have a contract, all this just kind of falls under general contract law, which says that if I provide a service and I provide you a bill and you pay me, that is an acceptance of the bill, and you really don't have a right to say, I wish I hadn't paid you later. Even if you think it was wrong later, you still don't have a right to get the money back. You can ask for it, but the party that provided the bill doesn't have to give it. The example is that, like, if I have a gardener comes to my house and does some landscaping work, and he gives me a bill for $500, I look over the work, I say, okay, great, I give him the $500. That's it. Like, if I go walk around the garden and I find some hole he dug that I didn't like, I can complain and I can ask him to fix it or whatever, but I can't say, I don't like the work anymore, give me back the $500 or give me back the $200 or whatever. Like, I don't have any legal right to do that. And if somehow I had another property that I asked him to do work at, and I'm saying, well, I'm not going to pay you for this one, I'm going to take it away, take the money out of the other one that I think you owe me. You can't really do that either. I mean, the metaphor is a little messed up, but in general, like, once you've paid somebody that, and they provided you a bill and you paid it, that's it. Like, you can't really undo it. You can ask for it, but you can't send them to collections. You can't just, like, demand the money back. And if you really wanted to demand the money back, you would have to sue that person and prove to a judge that for whatever reason that person owes it to you. You can't just suck it back. So insurance companies do this all the time. They do suck the money back, and they do it against other patients. So what I have taken to doing in these situations is that I send a single appeal saying that I disagree with your take back. Usually they don't even respond. And then I just pull out what isn't even that big of a gun, and I just file a small claims lawsuit. What I'll tell you is that when you sue an insurance company, they bend over instantly. They don't want to deal with it. And usually these amounts are $2,000, $3,000, $6,000, something like that. If they wanted back $20,000, you'd be in trouble, because you can't do, at least in Oregon, you only can do small claims up to $10,000. So if you wanted to fight over $20,000, you'd have to go to district court, and then you would need or county court, and then you would need a lawyer, and it would suddenly get very expensive. But small claims is very easy. So what I have found is that in these disputes, and these are always on the patient's behalf, if I ever have a dispute with the insurance company, on the patient's behalf, I will just file a lawsuit in court. And to date, I've done this 5 or 6 times. I would say that within a week of the lawsuit being filed, I have gotten a total settlement of everything I wanted. And usually the attorney's calling me and apologizing. And the great thing also is that then you have the attorney's phone number, and the next time you have a dispute with that insurance company, rather than going through the ridiculous appeal process, which almost never works, I just call their attorney. And I say, hey, there's this situation. I'm going to sue you if you don't deal with it. And then they deal with it. So you don't even have to sue them anymore. So if you're a patient of our practice, you should know that I will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that your claim gets paid well. Partially because I want to get paid and I want you to pay as little as possible, but also because I just can't function insurance companies not doing what they're supposed to do. Like, they constantly want to fuck with you, and they're assuming that you won't take the step required to make them come to heel. And I will always do that because I have a sort of internal sense of justice that says, okay, let's go to court, let's go ask a judge about this. It's easy these days. You can file small claims online. You can even sue them for the filing fees. So if they lose, they have to pay you for all the fees also. And then if it actually goes to trial, it's over Zoom. You don't even have to go to court. You can set up a Zoom trial with the judge, and you can explain your case. And I'm sure if this ever went to trial, I would win because there's a bunch of case law that says that I'm right. If you're a doctor, especially if you're out of network, if you're in disputes with insurance companies, do not hesitate to sue them. It works. And I think everyone assumes that it's like such a big deal. And if you can get it under the $10,000 small claims limit, just do it. It's so easy. And once you do it, you realize that it's easy, and it becomes another tool to getting your patients' benefits paid correctly. So it's just kind of an interesting thing. I think in disputes in general in life, usually if you have a monetary dispute with someone and it's significant and you really think you're right, filing small claims, getting a judge to mediate that dispute instead of just giving up and being frustrated, is a very reasonable thing to do. And it almost always leads to the outcome you want. If you're right, I mean, assuming that you can reasonably document that you're correct. It's not like the People's Court where it's like so dramatic. It's just a judge. As they say, the small claims court is a court of common sense. You don't have to be an attorney, and they don't really expect you to provide like complex legal arguments. They just ask you to explain the situation, and if common sense is on your side, the judge is probably going to rule in your favor. So we do that on behalf of our patients. I try to do the best possible surgeries I can in the operating room, and I'm also sort of my own business manager, so I try to advocate for our patients as much as we can to make sure that they're able to get the most benefits they can, and I can get paid as well as I can for what I do while limiting what the patients have to pay. Interesting thing. If we can help you with surgery, give us a call, 503-715-1377, or newpatients@nwendometriosis.com. Thanks.